Okay, so I said in the first episode of season 3, this being episode 2, I said in the first episode I was going to do a podcast a day for the remainder of the month. And I am and I'm not going to do that. I also said that what I might do is, record 3 or 4 in a day and then upload them daily. Fuck all that noise. I'm not going to do that because what I've learned already from doing that to a very small degree with the previous season, and actually, more importantly, in between seasons. So I was recording an episode a day for 42 days. And then on day number 43, when I had said my goodbyes to season 2, I'd signed off saying I'd moved on. I recorded an episode the next day, and then the following day I recorded another episode, and I was thinking to myself, oh, this is fucking deadly. I have 2 banked already. This is going to be fucking class. Come the time I release season 3, I might have the whole thing fucking recorded, and I can just sit back and upload one a day or schedule them to upload every day, and fucking that'd be brilliant. But what I found is, for example, one of the ones that I did a day or two after finishing season 2 was one about fucking Christmas, basically. It wasn't about Christmas, and I'm going to upload it again, but it was about God and the elf on the shelf and documentary teams, I think. But anyway, the reason being, I can't remember what was in that episode, and it's been recorded over a month. And that's the downside of recording them ahead of time. You don't know where you are. I want the episodes to be in sequence. I don't want you to be fucking listening to me about talking about the ice in January and then the next episode to be talking about looking forward to Christmas of the previous year, if that makes sense. But anyway, I said, fuck it. I got a bit of momentum this morning. I came down to work. I did the minimum, like I talked about yesterday. I got the podcast recorded and uploaded. I ended up tucking in and starting to glue the mobile studio together. When I was finished doing the bit that I was going to do on that today, I said, fuck it. Took a video, uploaded it to Facebook. And even on, like, I would upload it to YouTube, but I'm behind in YouTube. I'm still uploading episodes on a daily basis of season 2. They're still kind of going live, and there's people, not many admittedly, but there are people that are kind of watching them every day or listening to them every day. And I don't know, I had this idea in my head that everything had to be in sequence and everything had to be perfect and everything had to be, not perfect, but I had it in my head that I wanted to do it right. And I think that's what's been holding me back to a large degree. I'm somewhat of a perfectionist. I'm not a total perfectionist because total perfectionists don't do anything. And if they do, you don't fucking hear about them. Typically, real perfectionists have done 100 things and none of them are finished because finishing them would force them to say, there it is, it's finished, it's perfect. But a perfectionist is never fucking happy. So you're just left with loads of unfinished projects, basically. And that's what this podcast would be. The whole off the lead thing that's been rattling around in my brain for God knows how long, that would just be an unfinished project, along with a whole load of other unfinished projects that I have. Then I'm actually going to start recording and uploading, because the beauty of uploading my thoughts and what I'm doing and plans and all that is you're kind of accountable. In a weird way, you're accountable. You're accountable in a way. You're more accountable, should I say? You're more accountable, or it feels as though I'm more accountable to my quote unquote audience than to myself, which is fucking weird, isn't it? And it's funny because it is and it isn't weird. It's weird in one sense that why would I give a fuck what people on the internet say, do, or think about anything that's got to do with me at all? Like, why would I give a fuck? So it's weird in that sense. But it's not weird in the sense that if you go into your medicine press at home, you'll probably find prescriptions for antibiotics and whatever else that either you or your missus or your fella or whatever the case might be didn't finish. But if you've got kids, you won't find antibiotics and medical prescriptions for your kids unfinished, because you made damn fucking sure your kids took them. And in a sense, not that my audience are my kids, but there's an analogy of sorts there, me that loves my analogies. Me that loves my analogies. Indus River Valley civilization. We're getting there. But the point being, I feel accountable to my audience. Not even to my audience. I'm using my audience to make me more accountable to myself, if that makes sense. So I'll say to myself, okay, I'm going to get the mobile podcast studio built. But the thing is, I said that fucking 6 months ago. Prior to that, I've been talking about this mobile studio well since before COVID. I'm not doing it because of COVID by any stretch of the imagination. Now, it's great that it works through COVID. Like, I can make it COVID friendly without redesigning it or doing anything different other than putting a sheet of Perspex in between me and my guest. Now, that might be a bit awkward. We're probably going to have to use headphones so we can hear each other properly. Otherwise, we'll be kind of shouting at each other through Perspex. But anyway, I digress. The point being, I'm using the podcast as a way of lighting a fire under my own ass. And it's a way of making me more accountable, not to my audience, but making me more accountable to myself. Because if I say something on the podcast and upload it for the world, I'm going to feel like a bit of a fucking dick if I don't follow up on it. But with myself personally, who knows what I fucking said to myself 6 months ago? I don't know what I said to myself 15 minutes ago. I can't remember what I started talking about 6 minutes ago. So it's very easy to promise yourself that you'll do this and you'll do that and you'll do the other. But unless you make it kind of public in some sense, you'll forget or you'll choose not to think of it. But if you put it out there, and I've spoken about this before, way back in season 1, I think, the idea being that if you want to do something, the first step is basically to say it out loud. Now, you don't have to fully commit and say to your friend or your missus or your fella or whoever it is that you're going to do this thing. Maybe that's too far a step. But telling people that you have an interest in something, that's one step in a progression of steps that will get you to actually doing it. Telling somebody that you have an interest in it. Telling somebody that, you tried this thing out. Tell them that somebody else that you liked it. Tell somebody else or the same person that you've been doing more and more of it. And then, over a period of time, you'll get to the point whereby people will say to you, would you not just fucking go and do this thing that you're always talking about? This thing that you were so terrified of telling people that you wanted to do? People are going to pick that and go, why aren't you doing this? Because you've led them there. And you can lead yourself there. You have to get yourself to a point whereby you can do these things. And you get yourself and everybody else, you get them there one step at a time, incrementally. Here's another one for you. And I think I might have alluded to this in the kind of Happy New Year episode that I released there, the one before last. In relation to skinning the pine marten. Number one, I've been talking about, I've been Googling and researching kind of butchery and hunting and talking about it to my friends and online and all the rest of it for God knows fucking how long. And that was in no small part why I ended up fucking doing it in the first place. All those videos, all those butchery videos that I watched of people butchering deer and moose and fucking cattle and pigs and all sorts, it was all exposure therapy. And I'll probably do an episode on exposure therapy, but my head is fucking filled with all these different things that I want to do episodes on. And I have to get this idea of doing it well out of my fucking head. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to butcher exposure therapy. But at least it'll be fucking out there. And I have it in my head that people might be thinking, you know what, Frano, this is your third season at this. You keep talking about how you're going to set aside time and do these things properly. But, when is that time going to come? Fuck all those people. Okay? Now, those people are invented in my head. I'm sure they exist, but it doesn't matter. But even the people that I've created in my head who are thinking these things, fuck them. Okay? Do you know when I'm going to do things properly? I'm going to do things properly when I get approached by a documentary team who want to make something for fucking Netflix. Okay? That's when this will be done fucking properly. And in the meantime, I'm just going to keep on fucking talking, keep on recording, and keep ploughing on to fuck. Okay? So, exposure therapy. Exposure therapy is basically what it sounds like. Exposing yourself to things. So, the idea is that if somebody is anxious, say, or afraid, let's say somebody's afraid of, open water. Somebody absolutely shits themselves when they get within 1,000,000 miles of the sea or a river or a lake. They just cannot handle open water. It just fucking freaks them out. Replace open water with anything that you might be afraid of doing or terrified of or whatever, okay? The idea of exposure therapy is the person who's terrified of open water, you show them a photograph of an ocean, okay? And that might make them get sick on the spot, okay? Maybe you've gone too far. Show them a photograph of a picture of an ocean, okay? Pull back as far as humanly possible till you get to a point whereby the person that's afraid of the thing can handle it. So a photograph of somebody painting an ocean. Okay, I can handle that. Grand. Okay, right. What about the next time then holding a picture of an ocean that was painted by somebody? Okay, I can do that. Next step is, what about trying to paint the ocean yourself? Next step, what about having a photo of an ocean that you can look at to help you paint the ocean? Okay, and you basically, inch by inch, incrementally, you get the person to the point whereby they're not freaked out about the thing. Up until whereby you can get them to, I don't know, watch a video of waves. Okay, the next one then is maybe a visit to the beach. Pull up in the car park and then drive home. The next day, pull up in the car park, get out, get back in and drive home. The next day, oh God forbid, you might put your foot in the fucking sand. Whatever it is, but you get there incrementally. The idea being that if it's open water that you're afraid of, if you start on day one looking at a video of somebody painting a picture of an ocean, if you do it daily, or regularly at least, then who knows, maybe at the end of the year or at the end of the decade, you can fucking swing the channel, okay? Because you've taken baby steps there, every step of the way, tiny, tiny, tiny incremental steps towards your goal. You don't need to have your goal in sight. You don't have to start off with a vision of you swimming in open water to get over your fear of open water. Okay, and again, open water is just the example that I'm making. Call it fear of fucking small space. Actually, fear of small spaces might be a good one. What's the smallest room you can go into? Think of that. Let's say if you're claustrophobic and you think the smallest room that you can go into is your fucking bedroom, say. Any smaller than that and you start to freak out. Okay, well, get a fucking beanbag and throw it in your room. And then the next week, put another beanbag into it. And the next week, put another fucking beanbag into it. Or, replace beanbag with rolled up carpet or fucking duvet or whatever it is. But the idea being, you gradually get yourself to the point whereby the room is full of shit and you can't move in it. But you don't feel as claustrophobic as you once did because you've done it incrementally. You've done it gradually. You've gotten yourself there step by step. And that's essentially what I was doing, whether I realised it or not. When I was watching all those butchery videos and when I was watching people skinning animals, I was incrementally becoming increasingly more comfortable with the process of taking an animal apart, essentially. Okay? To the point whereby I bit the bullet one day and skinned the fucking animal. All by myself, with no help. I didn't have any tutorial or anything. I just fucking bit the fucking bullet. But what are the odds, okay, of somebody who hasn't watched any videos or who hasn't had an interest in over years in doing something? What's the odds of that person pulling over on the side of the road and throwing a badger into the boot of their car, going home and fucking skinning it? I would argue zero, okay, and probably with good reason, okay, not for everybody. But anyway, the point being, exposure therapy is exposing yourself to the things that you don't like incrementally, okay, step by step. And me uploading videos and, like, let's say my dream, and it's not a dream that I have per se, but it's certainly something that I, wouldn't mind happening. If it did happen, fucking happy fucking days. But it's not a goal. It's not something that I'm striving for. But if a Netflix mini-series was to be made about off the lead and the off the lead mentality and all the rest, pushing the whole off the lead agenda, if that was to be made, it would be on the back of doing what I'm doing now, getting the fuck on with it, bit by bit. I had to record one solo before it became a season. I had to record a conversation with somebody before I had a bank of 40 conversations with different people. And the point being, if there's something that you want to do, take your time. But do it. Do it fucking badly. Do it badly. Like that recording studio that I just uploaded the video for, recording studio, hilarious. It's just a box basically that I can pick up. It's a pile of shit, but does it work? There'll be 2 chairs in it, there'll be a table in it, there'll be 2 mics, 2 sets of headphones, a laptop, a heater, a fan, you know, the bare minimum to make it fucking feasible that I can actually do this. There'll be fucking drafts, the sound won't be great, it'll be fucking either too hot or too cold or a mixture of both. There'll be 101 things wrong with it. But it's a hell of a lot better than what I was fucking doing beforehand, which was expecting people to travel to me, which even now during COVID, you can't fucking do even if I wanted. 15 minutes, I'm just going to leave it at that for now, but I will chat to you very, very soon. And yeah, Off the Lead YouTube. So go on to YouTube, Off the Lead, subscribe, like a couple of videos, comment on a couple of videos. All that kind of engagement helps. The same for Facebook and Instagram. And I'll chat to you soon. No, not gone yet. Sorry, apologies. Fuck, what was I going to even say? Yes, I have 1 or 2 episodes recorded, and they were supposed to be banked. I'm not banking them. I'm launching them up. So if the next 2, I think I definitely have 2. I'm going to upload this, which is number 2. I'm going to upload number 3 and number 4. Just know 3 and 4 were recorded before Christmas, so they mightn't sound in kind of keeping, but the reason that I'm uploading them is because I want them fucking gone. I want them behind me. I don't want them fucking hanging around, because fuck that. Forward is the only direction I'm moving in 2021, and I'll hope we come with you. And on that note, I'll chat to you tomorrow, or soon, or whenever, you know.